let me, I'll recognize that we have a quorum. We do have a quorum. The only item of business today is to approve a refinancing for the Fairhope Airport Authority. And the long and short of it is, the process has been that we've basically gone out and solicited 6 proposals. This is the second time we've done it. We did it in October, and then we did it again. We did it in October, and then we did it again September 6th. We got 6 qualified proposals, and what we then did, what I did last week, is then went back to all the banks and asked them, this is what you gave us in writing. Is there any? Can you sweeten this at all? And 5 of the 6 banks actually came back to the table and said they would. Having said that, here's a list of the proposals, the actual numbers that we'll use. I couldn't actually I sent y'all a spreadsheet with all that in there. I couldn't figure out how to print that this afternoon. But
our rates are different. What you gave us?
They are a little different. A couple, we a little different, but not significantly. The winners are still the people who gave the best rates are still the best rates. But having said all that, our attorney doesn't think we should go forward. He thinks because of the issues around one of the proposals that's not conforming, the proposal that is actually the best proposal, he thinks there's way too many issues there. And then the second, he says 2 of the proposals he thinks he could close, but and then without having the mayor's blessing, he thinks that what we would do is we would not make the 27-day deadline, if we will, in closing, and we would basically just spend a lot of legal fees and not have a loan closed.
What does that mean?
What was his recommendation?
His recommendation was we not do anything tonight, that we basically have the a conference call with the lender, pick 2 lenders, have a conference call with the 2 lenders, himself, and and somebody that represents the mayor, and basically say these are the terms that we can live with, and then if we can get everybody in concurrence there tomorrow, then we move forward.
I don't understand what the mayor. How would the mayor hold that up? I don't understand that when you have the governing body of the city that has approved that.
I hear what you're saying, but Rod just doesn't believe that we can close a deal this complicated without the mayor truly signing off on it. And you've heard.
I haven't heard that exactly. You just talked to him.
Yeah.
He said what he said. My understanding is that this board has to approve a certain loan recommendation. One of these bidders would be selected and approved by this board, but then of course it has to go in front of the city council to be approved, because of course the funding agreement that's in place is going to require city council approval, just like the last one did.
Sure.
And the one before that. I guess I'm a little fuzzy on how the mayor would.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did you also say, not going away from what y'all talking about, because I think that's where we're really at. Did you say there was something wrong with one of the proposals?
Yeah, he doesn't think the proposal that you and I have talked about can be made conforming, that he can close that in a timely manner. There's too many gotchas in the even in the revised. He says.
I'm just, Joe, if I can interject, and by conforming, I think what Rod Cantor means is things that the authority can do under law.
Yes.
Not relative to the RFP, but things that the board probably cannot do under its enabling legislation. So it's a big deal. It's not just they didn't hit this part of the RFP. It's things that the board cannot guarantee.
There's too many caveats in the proposals that we're talking about, Vince, of things that they can come back and say, we want to do this, or we want to do that we cannot negotiate out of in a timely manner. Now, two of the other proposals, one of them he thought was conforming. I mean, he thought he could work through that. The other proposal, he thought there were some minor things that he thought he could do. He thought he could go back and we could fix. They were relatively minor, but we could fix those.
Just as far as the proposal itself.
The proposal itself,
So with the conforming proposal or proposals, does the mayor? I mean, is there still some interplay?
Well, he still brings out the mayor. I mean, that's still an issue with him.
Well, what is the issue? I don't understand what the issue with the mayor is. I still don't understand what gives them pause for concern there.
I mean, he just thinks that a deal this complicated can't be without her support. Can't be done without her support.
I don't know. I would want to talk to our city attorney, but I believe that the city finances are 100% the responsibility of the council, and that this just would guess that the city council could authorize the mayor to execute the documents. And if that was not to be executed, I believe that they could authorize someone else to execute.
And there is precedent.
I don't want to say that. I'm not a lawyer, but I believe that we can ask city attorney that. Just if that's a sticking
There is a
point.
precedent for that, because we did do that with the library board. I mean, the library board did something like that, without the mayor's consent, 10 years ago. That's kind of where I am. I don't really. I mean, we can call Rod up and we can get him. I mean, he's got some insights that I don't have.
Has he been told the mayor would not sign it?
He's been told the mayor wouldn't sign it.
Well, we can talk to the city attorney about what happens if that was to occur. State statute clearly gives the spending of money to the authority of the council. That's pretty clear cut. So
and maybe it's not so much that it would not ever close, but it wouldn't close in 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of. I mean, we've got a lock in with.
Well, I understand. We need to probably talk to. This is all news to me. We need to talk to city attorney and find out what could be done if that is stopped. I mean, could we call a special session to address that? I mean, I think we need to have some answers as to what our authority is prior to moving forward. I don't want to make the assumption that we do, but I believe that we do have that authority.
I'm truly devastated. I got this call, at 4:15, and I mean, it's hard to argue. I mean, it's hard to argue with him. I mean, he's pretty,
Well, Rod's a smart guy. This is what he does
all the time,
every day.
And he basically said, y'all could go forward and do it, but I won't close it. I mean, I won't be the one to close it, and you won't make your 4 week deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Vince, your thoughts?
Without putting you on the spot, I assume the mayor has called this attorney and said she's not going to execute any documents.
Well, again, I'm surmising here. There's the mayor. The mayor has an attorney she's dealing with, Matt McDonald.
Okay.
And I think Matt McDonald and Rod have had conversations.
Okay.
I mean, that's my summation of it. We were on a conference call, and we've kept Matt McDonald as up to date as we can. But I don't know what the mayor's thinking.
Yeah, and I haven't been updated on this. I'm sorry.
Haven't he?
This is the first I'm hearing of this. So
Okay.
I haven't had
Well,
an update on
we'll
it.
deal with it.
And I apologize. I was on board.
You understand the issue, though.
I hear what you're saying.
4 weeks to close.
Yeah,
I mean, there's just not enough time to close if we don't have all parties rolling together.
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But what it's gonna mean is that we have now a good agreement with PNC Bank that March 1st, we're gonna owe $305,000 in principal and 140, and our interest rate is gonna stay the same. So our payment for next year is gonna be $478,000. I mean, that's, that's, if nothing happens, that's what our payment's gonna be, as opposed to what the council recommended.
Keeping it about 320.
320.
I think it came in.
And then the new proposals that we've negotiated, our payments would be around 325, 335. So there's real money out there. I mean, we're talking about real money here. It's not just a game.
Well, my concern is that interest rates are going to go up.
And the other part of this, and from when we've done it, when we had the initial conversation in October, we've lost $168,000 in over the 7-year life of the loan. I mean, because the rates that we had, the comparable rates, were 40 basis points better
And this is in this process?
in this process. So, I mean, I don't know where we go from, and I'm sure the bankers are frustrated with us too. They've spent a lot of time and effort working on this, and right now they're just, haven't moved farther.
Well, we could have maybe had some options or answers, I don't, just, from an authority standpoint, airport authority standpoint, I think that if necessary to move the process forward, if we had to have another meeting, you can call a meeting, and I think that we need some more information though. I will talk to our city attorney, and then if I need to have the city attorney talk to Mr. McDonald, we can do that too. I really don't know that, I do think that the mayor can possibly refuse to sign documents. I do believe that, but I don't know that the final authority rests with that, especially when it comes to financial concerns.
And I don't know that either. I mean, I don't know that either. Yeah. But what I do know is that
pretty certain that
our attorney says it will be a much more cumbersome process that would probably take more than the 4 weeks that we have to get it closed. And it would be,
Right.
So.
Jim, what's the window?
February 23rd was when we
Is the
was when
window
we
that
wanted to
we're
close.
working
Now,
with?
I think some of the banks would probably give us another week if we truly had a plan. But
February 23rd.
yeah, February 23rd. And that didn't just happen. I mean, we started 2 months ago, and that was a date, 2 months ago. So, okay, February 23rd. But we do have good rates. I mean, the banks were very, they thought a lot of us, and these rates are very good. Yeah.
We have a wide range.
Yeah. Anything else? Say your thing about contracting, what we talked about.
For the bond issue?
No, about people, the ability to not having to solicit. The authority didn't have to do RFP.
Oh, no. I mean, that's codified. I mean, we're going through this process trying to get the best bid that we can. And Joe solicited a number of banks, and we got 5 or 6.
6 bids.
6 bids, which is great, but the enabling legislation gives the board that, if I can find it, very broad authority. Bonds of the authority may be sold at public or private sale in such manner from time to time as may be determined by the board.
So we could basically negotiate with one bank.
Yeah,
That's what we've done before.
There's no requirement that we solicit umpteen banks. I mean, it could be negotiating with one bank. It could be, according to this, a private lender. There's lots of authority invested in the board in terms of securing the best possible terms for any bond. But having said that, I think that it's been good to solicit all these
No, it has
banks,
been. I
trying to
think
get the best
possible
rate and the best terms. And I think
and the banks have been very responsive.
they have, and I think some of them probably have not delved into the legislation for airport authorities to divine what we can and can't do, hence the non-conforming proposals. But it seems like most of them are willing to come to the table and set aside those things that the board just can't do, is a matter of law. There's certain things like guarantee of, certain revenues that we can't pledge and things like that they wanted, but that we just can't give them.
And what we've done over the last week is really gone back to each of the banks and said, RFP said this, you asked for this. We tried to make the RFP, we tried to make their proposal responsive to the RFP. So we got there pretty much, but we still had some issues. And I think we can get there. I mean, they're close enough now that we can get there, but we just can't do it tonight.
The rates are good for a month.
I don't think so. I think they're good to tomorrow afternoon. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think they're probably, vaporizing as we speak.
Jack, not to put you on the spot, how long will it take to get an answer?
Well, I'll call city attorney as soon as I walk out of this room just to see if I can reach him and determine it. It might take more than one phone call to have, to try to find out what the, what can be done. I believe that I'm correct in knowing what the authority of the council is. I believe that we can choose any designee to execute that if we have to. I could be wrong, but I believe that is the process. As you all know, there's a bunch of shenanigans going on around that, and I don't know what the problem is with the authority. You probably have the crosshairs on you because people are using me and the authority in a political game that's totally ludicrous. And so I apologize for that. I don't mean to drag y'all into it, but it's just politics at its worst, obviously. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of resolve the council has as well to stick to their guns on this. I don't have any indication. I hadn't had a conversation with them. I don't have any indication that they're backing off their commitment. And I think that that's all that was necessary to enable this financing was the commitment from the council.
And again, my reading of, I'm just, I wish I hadn't had this conversation at 4:15, but he was adamant that we could in good conscience accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, when is the PNC payment due? March
1st.
I wasn't at the council meeting, but I watched, and it was a unanimous vote for 7 years.
Correct.
$320,000 a year.
That's correct.
But there wasn't anything in that motion about directing us to refinance the debt. It was discussed. But
No, it was just basically the commitment to
for us
to make that appropriation to the airport authority for 7 years.
Well, I
think it was implied that the airport authority would use that for debt service.
It wasn't part of the motion.
It was not part of the motion.
I mean, if we only got $320,000 next year, we would have a big gap.
So you're saying you would have a big gap?
We would have a big gap.
Or you will?
We will have a big gap, $150,000.
Because I can't, because that's all that's been appropriated, and that has been approved. So I mean, all things being equal, you see, here's the thing. That's already passed. So the appropriation has been made. The treasurer is obligated to cut a check for the next 7 years for $320,000, and we can sign a contract with the airport authority for that. So is the problem, is the hang up the signing of that, contract with the airport authority?
No, I think the banks appreciated this, appreciated the full support of the city of Fairhope. That's why the rates were as attractive as they were.
Well, I don't see anything that would say that that's, is it maybe the part of the guarantee of the loan? I don't understand what the hang up is with the bond council then, if that pledge has been made and if that contract was to be signed.
That was not part of the motion, but the intent was for us to refinance and get that debt
under control.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the city was guaranteeing it so we could get a better rate so we could save money paying off that.
Exactly. And see, that's not action that can be,
No,
undone. I don't know. Could a council come in, could the council next year make a motion to renege on that? I don't think so. Not if you enter into a contract. My understanding was that you would enter into a contract, much like you had on the last financing, that would basically, it would have that language in there. So that there was a guarantee.
Well, you've been party to some of these conversations. Am I summarizing what you?
No, you are. I mean, but I never got to the part where now we can't get, with Rod,
Yeah.
we can't get this done in the next 4 weeks. And
Well,
I don't know,
yeah,
that's where I haven't been a part of any discussion like that.
yeah.
I mean, I always knew, and believe me, in January,
It'd be
early
a challenge.
January,
It'd
we
be a
had
challenge.
lots of discussions about exactly what needed to happen to put a viable deal on the table. And when the RFP went out, it was designed to solicit viable bids.
Mm-hmm.
But there were the same political issues going on at that time that are still going on now. So I don't know why Rod has changed his tune.
I don't think he's changed it. I think it crystallized today at 4:30. I said, Rod, are you in? And he went, no, you don't have, I don't have I don't know. I think he had that conversation with Matt, and that nothing's moved there.
He said he had a discussion
Well,
with Matt McDonald.
I think that's yeah. And he read the blog. He read Mr. Rip's comments.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know, other than
Who does Mr. McDonald work for?
He works for Jones Walker
Jones
over in Mobile.
Well, who's paying him?
The city.
The
city.
Okay. The city has two attorneys.
Well,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald's relationship is more, he's a litigator. He can also be, the mayor can call him and bounce, things off of him. She can call and bounce things off the city attorney as well. It's just that city attorney's hired by council. We typically will go through the city attorney first when we seek advice like
Well,
that.
Jones Walker would have in their group, they would have a bond counsel who could actually actually work with Rod Cantor to make this happen, because he would have to give an opinion.
Yeah, and the city would need an opinion, just like the lawyer will need an opinion, just like the lender will need an opinion as to the viability of the legality of the deal.
And
I'm
that's
sure
who we
Jones
would
Walker-
get the city's opinion from.
Of course, last time it came from Hand Arundel. That won't be the case this time, but I'm sure Jones Walker has somebody that
And then Matt and I've
can
had
sign that
conversation.
letter.
Yeah. So, having said all that, what I'd like to do is set up some time tomorrow that we can maybe Josh and I can get with Rod and maybe the lenders, the two lenders that, two or three of the lenders, see if we can flesh out the remaining issues. And at the same time, see if we can get some buy-in from the mayor,
If necessary.
if necessary.
I mean, that'd be nice, but if not, we'll see what other avenue we can take. We'll see.
When you said that he said we might could close this, but it wouldn't be with him doing it, was he referencing something that's wrong in one of these proposals or the hiccup from the mayor?
He, specifically, one of the proposals he thinks has real issues. He can't seem to get through it there. He says two of the proposals he could work through, but the hiccup with the mayor is a big problem.
Okay, so it's both.
It's both. But I think I think he knew the way I was leaning for the proposal, and he said he would have a hard time closing that proposal.
Do we need to put anything on the table for you and Josh to see what we can negotiate out with the two or three best looking bidders on here in the meantime?
Well, why don't we do this? There's the three proposals here that I think I could get comfortable with. That one, and that one, which are all clustered around pretty,
First, second, and fourth.
yeah. Why don't we see if we can,
That one.
But I would still suggest that it needs to come back before the full board
Okay.
for consideration.
But we need to go ahead and be working on those things that he says, even if the mayor was not an issue, Jack gets his answer on that. We still got some issues gotta work out. Why don't we be working them out in the meantime?
I didn't follow that.
Well, let me ask you this. You're saying that you're gonna go back to those three because I don't wanna look at them either. That bond counsel says they have issues with, can you not go back to everybody and say bond counsel has issues with these terms and try to work that out? Is
Well, I
that
mean-
not fair to everybody to try to work out those issues as well?
It is. I mean, yeah, I mean, we could,
Two of the rates are pretty high.
yeah, a couple of the rates are, I mean, it'd be hard to get, I mean, I mean, I could even go, 4 of the 6 rates are pretty clustered, and I would feel comfortable not taking, I mean, I'd feel comfortable any 4 of those, quite frankly.
Vince, I think the board could give Joe some limited authority, but the final, I mean, it would still have
Yeah,
to
I
come
don't-
back
I
in
don't
front of the board.
What I was saying
The
is
final.
while Jack's trying to work on the mayor's side and where we stand, there's no need to get that resolved and then come back and say, okay, now we still got these issues. Let's go ahead and work on these issues. and figure out
Right.
what
No,
they
I
are.
think I agree with you. I think we do need to try and flesh through those technical issues with the lenders and hopefully get them to just remove whatever
And
stipulations don't comply with what we can do.
we did, Tut did put in writing the other day that as far as negotiations with the bank after the fact, we could do that unlimited. I mean, there's no, I mean, it's not like we have to go out for another RFP. I mean,
Right.
you know, you can negotiate with financial institutions pretty much at will without going out for an ER. So we can do that.
Is that the policy going forward with this group?
No, I mean, I think the policies are doing RFP, but I mean, we
Well, if the terms on the RFP are changing, if you are in fact changing the terms of the RFP, then you need to include all those 6 people that sent to you.
I don't think we're changing them. We're making them comply. We're asking the banks to comply with what was on the RFP. Not all of them did. That's the heartache that our bond attorney had. I hear what you're saying, and I hear what you're not saying too. Some banks did a better job of responding to the RFP than others. So, I mean,
Well, a lot of those changes could, without knowing, obviously, but I mean, my point is that I think the price could be altered should some of the conditions be meaningful. I mean, I don't know what the conditions are. One is the idea that we're in a rising interest rate environment and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure that affected some of the bids.
well, one of the ones, Rod, this is an easy one. Rod said everybody had not an option if a refinancing option, a make whole provision. Okay, every lender had one of those, and they were in different. He said, well, you can't accept that. That can't be on anybody's RFP. We didn't put that in what we asked for. I can't close this deal with having something that a prepayment penalty that significantly changes the deal.
Another one that comes to mind, some of them, and I don't remember which ones had a break fee.
Yeah, a break fee. Yeah, 2 of them had break fees. But if we committed tonight, didn't close by February 23rd, we had to write a big check. He said that wasn't in the RFP, and so whatever. But the make whole provision was pretty big.
That's in all 6.
5 of the 6. Yeah. So it was those kind of things, and I mean, to me as a banker, I mean, I've always lived with make whole provisions. I understand but they weren't in the RFP, and Rod said he couldn't close it with, having a make whole provision in the RFP. And is that something as a banker that are you willing as a corporately not to have a make whole? I mean, we don't intend to refinance it. I mean,
Let me tell you something, after listening to all this, I'm not gonna respond to any of that. I mean,
Okay. All
I am so confused. Who is Rod?
Rod Cantor, he's a bond counsel with Bradley Arant
For who?
for
Representing y'all?
representing us. Representing the authority, yes, sir.
So he's authority.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Mac McDonald is the city's attorney with Jones Walker.
And that's who you want to get back with, Jack, is Matt?
Well, I want to first talk to Tut Wynn, our city attorney, and then if I need to talk to Matt, I'll talk to him as well. So there's two
Oh, you
different.
have 2 attorneys, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I missed that, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that was confusing.
Okay, anything else?
Do we want to go back and get these things
Yeah.
corrected?
I think we take these four, I think we have a recommendation that we work with the four banks, and we try to get with Rod and get all those things, get them, so he's comfortable that he can close all of those in a timely manner.
What's the fourth one?
I guess it'd be that one.
Well, you just might as well say it if you're gonna make a recommendation. I mean, it's
Okay, my recommendation is that we work with Bryant Bank, PNC Bank, Trustmark, and BVA Compass Bank to make their proposals comply with the RFP that we did.
Now, my question is this, if you did, and that caused their rates to go up, but you excluded the other two maybe because you thought their rates were too high, I don't understand why somebody's being excluded.
Let's go back to all six.
I think you should go back to everybody because then you're apples to apples.
The only one I wouldn't want to go back to is one of the banks gave me a term sheet, not a commitment. And I would rather work with only banks that truly gave a commitment. So
I'm not a banker enough to know. Let y'all make that decision.
So
But if
I'll
you
do
gave them
all
an option
five.
to come back with a commitment as opposed to a term sheet. I don't know. I don't know what it says, what you're able to do at this point.
Why don't we do this? I'll make a motion, we go back to all six of them and get them to comply with the RFP.
Okay.
And we do that as soon as possible because we might have another special call meeting in 2 or 3 days. Be ready to go forward.
Jack, are you okay with that? Okay, that's the motion. I have a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. The motion, then is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jack.
I'll leave.